Good morning. Time to do it again. It is the Power Hour, part of the Chris Logan Morning Show. What's happening? I am Chris Logan. Appreciate you being here. As always this morning, appreciate you being a quote, unquote, citizen again of the planet. So with the Power Hour, we are live on the planet. You can listen website, app, Alexa, TuneIn Radio, iHeart, and we're doing Straight Talk where we visit the top headlines and stories of the day. We're going to go in and do it all in an hour. We're also live on our Listen to the Planet Facebook page. So if you're listening, make sure you follow Listen to the Planet on Facebook. Also, just a little side note, we got Instagram, we got TikTok. It all follows Listen to the Planet. I believe Twitter does too. Also, Spotify account is up, the Planet Power Hour. Got the video of yesterday's show on our channel there. Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. That's coming soon. Just got to worry about getting all that published. And also our YouTube channel. That is there as well. The Planet Power Hour with Chris Logan. You can go and you can subscribe. So if you missed the Power Hour, you can go back and you can watch or you can listen anytime you like. What is on the menu for our Power Hour today? Going to talk about the Powerball. We are going to talk about the LSU Pylon. We're going to talk about popular Christmas gift this year. You know, they always have that one thing. Remember way back in the day, it was Tickle Me Elmo. Remember those days where it was like crazy? I don't think it's going to be that crazy for this, but supposedly this Christmas gift here is like the one that all the kids want. Also going to talk about this, the top secrets that women keep. Also, which decade would you go back to if you had the opportunity? And again, we're not going to talk all politics here on the Power Hour, but if we're going to talk about what's happening, the daily headlines, the daily stories, we're going to have to talk about politics sometimes, and the election happened last night. So we are going to talk about that later on this morning, but we're starting with the Powerball. Dude, one winner, winning ticket of $2 billion sold in California. Did it kind of happen under the radar yesterday? As I said on yesterday's show, I don't want to get all conspiracy theorists. I really don't. But kind of questioning the lottery drawing. I mean, you got a $2.04 billion jackpot. You got almost everyone, wanting to be a part of this because it was the biggest jackpot ever. And then there are some technical difficulties at one lottery location. But the largest in U.S. history, the previous largest jackpot, if you remember, $1.586 billion. That was back in 2016. Lottery released the numbers Tuesday morning, 10, 33, 41, 47, and 56 with a Powerball of 10 after a 10-hour delay. I think here in Louisiana, I think I saw this morning, don't quote me, but I think there was a $2 million ticket sold in Louisiana. The California Lottery said the winning ticket was sold at Joe's Service Center in Altadena. That's in the Los Angeles area. Reading this story from KATC.com. $2.04 billion. Now, whoever won that's not going to get that full amount. We talked about that yesterday as well. The government is going to win on this one. But it does say he didn't win the jackpot. 11,206,806 other tickets claimed smaller prizes of $4 up to $2 million. The odds of winning a smaller prize was about 1 in 25. 22 tickets matched all white ball numbers, bringing in $1 million. One power play ticket also matched all 5 numbers, which resulted in a $2 million prize. So, a lot of hype, and then, boo. But supposedly, one person in California won $2.04 billion. And I ask this to myself a lot. You know, we get excited when the jackpots are big, right? And we go out and buy tickets when the jackpot's big. But aren't our chances of winning when the jackpot's not as much and maybe there's not as many people playing? I'm not a statistician or anything, but maybe I should try playing Powerball, lottery, all that stuff more when the jackpots are not huge. Because look, you give me $1 million for me, for old Chris Logan from Church Point, give me $1 million. I mean, look, that's life-changing, man. We'd have us a nice studio. We'd probably have the Planet on an FM station. We'd have some nice things, right? We would have us some nice things if I won $1 million. Win the $2.04 billion, dude, we'd have a lot of nice things. Have nice, better mics, better cameras, all sorts of stuff. I'd invite you over as a studio audience if I won $2.04 billion. Hang on, I am enjoying a cup of coffee. You can see it on our Facebook page. I'm doing that. But if you are listening on the Planet, had to take a sip. Still got about half my cup left. So from time to time, I will take a drink of coffee. There is no old consultant telling me not to drink coffee while I'm on the air. So if I want to take a sip, I'm going to take a sip. I do want to mention this, though. And I mentioned this on the morning show a few weeks ago because I needed more coffee and I needed more creamer for the office. And I kind of went back to the liquid creamer. The French vanilla was okay for me. The original. I like the Italian sweet cream. But then sometimes I'm a sucker for new flavors and holiday flavors. Now, this was not pumpkin spice. If you know me, you know I do not like pumpkin spice. But I was drawn in to peppermint mocha. So got a little Christmas flavoring going on in my coffee. And it's okay. I kind of regret buying a big jug of it because it's the kind of creamer, those flavored creamers for me, that you don't want every day. Now, I also feel, you may not, you can feel how you like. But I feel a little less manly when I'm pouring in that peppermint mocha creamer in my coffee. That's just me. That's just me. I'm not saying everyone is weak or less manly or puts on a dress or anything like that when you drink peppermint creamer in your coffee, peppermint mocha. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I feel less manly when I'm drinking peppermint mocha. Just me. So Powerball is out the way. Also said this morning that we talk about the LSU Pylon. Now, have you seen this? A lot of people have. And I pulled up the story, got it from 107.9 is Hot. And got it from a good friend of mine. I'll give him a shout out, Chris Reed. And I was trying to get Chris Reed on my LSU Live that I did on Sunday. And he was hungover from the night before. So we didn't get to talk on the live. But he's an LSU fan, an LSU graduate. And I wanted to get his take on the LSU game. And I wanted to get his take on Brian Kelly. We texted a little bit after. But I didn't get a chance to get him on. And I think it was Monday. We talked a little about the viral video of the kid. I'll call him a kid, college-age kid, who is going viral from a video right after the Tigers scored that two-point conversion. You see this kid grab the pylon real quick and run off. So I believed that this kid stole that pylon. You know what? I thought it was kind of cool. I'm not condoning stealing, anything like that. Just like I'm not saying not every man feels weak when they drink peppermint mocha creamer in their coffee. I do. But I thought this kid stole the pylon. I was like, man, this kid just ran away with the pylon. He's going to put it on the internet and he's going to make some money. But that is wrong. That is not what happened. Watch, and I'm going to let me see if I can put it on the screen here, just in case you're not familiar with what I'm talking about. And if you're listening to The Planet, you got to check out the Facebook Live so you can see some of this stuff. But this is the kid right here. So that's the kid. He's holding the pylon. Now, he wasn't just some random kid that was there hanging out on the field. He's part of the equipment team at LSU. Look, here he is again, holding the pylon, and he got the number 1, which that's what he did as he was shooting across the end zone. Dude picked up the pylon, tucked it, and ran. And I thought it was cool. But it wasn't. He is part of the equipment team, and that was his job Saturday night. If LSU won, that was his job of grabbing the pylon and making sure that it was safe. And the dude did his job really well. Kase Ellerbe is his name. He is a student manager for LSU football equipment. They said, Kase, protect the pylons with your life, and he did. He grabbed it, he tucked it, and he ran. Now, LSU, they also tweeted, shout out to LSU FBE or LSU FB equipment student manager, Kase Ellerbe, our newest pylon security director. And then he recreates his grabbing of the pylon and running off. So look, I'm going to say that I believed that story. I believed the viral story that some dude ran off with the LSU pylon. But it's not true. He was an LSU equipment manager. Would have been better if he'd have stole it, though, right? But yeah, so that's kind of putting that viral video to bed. If you didn't see it, just search, LSU pylon kid running or something like that, and you'll see it. Christmas is not far away, boys and girls. It's not. Not going to forget about Thanksgiving, though. Thanksgiving, we are, a couple weeks away? Talked a little bit about that yesterday on the Power Hour. A lot of people saying their Thanksgiving celebration smaller. I think it was 88% of people said that they are skipping one dish for Thanksgiving just to make ends meet. Things are that tight for them. So if you're not skipping anything this Thanksgiving, that's something for you to be thankful about. But let's not forget about, good morning, Jean-Paul, thank you. Jean-Paul from Motor City says we love the planet. But let's not forget about Thanksgiving. So I'm not jumping over Thanksgiving and going straight to Christmas. But I saw this story today because most times there's one toy or one item, one gift that's like the hot toy that every kid wants. And this year, it has to do with Squishmallows. I think I'm saying that right. Squishmallows. Now, I did not know too much about these toys, and when I saw the story this morning, I was like, wait a minute, what is a Squishmallow? Now, my daughter is 16, and look, I pulled it up. So this is their official website. It's like these big, fluffy, oval-looking stuffed animals, and they're like different styles. My 16-year-old daughter has one, but they're probably for younger kids. But I guess that proves just how much all of these toys are popular. But according to what I'm reading this morning, Squishmallows, they are the hot thing to get this Christmas. The Squishmallows mystery box, to be precise, says it's already the best-selling toy of the year. Story from CNET goes on to say these plump stuffies are ultra popular with kids. Adults agree because Squishmallows won the Toy Association's 2022 Toy of the Year award. So if you wanted to win to get your kid for Christmas, can't go wrong with a Squishmallow, I am assuming. So this is the Power Hour, something new that we're doing on the planet. Make sure you are listening to the planet. You may be listening to the station now. It is exclusively an online station, playing 90s and 2000s rock. ListenToThePlanet.com is our website. You can listen there, download the apps, Listen to the Planet, App Store, Google Play. We're on the iHeart platform. Search for Listen to the Planet there. Now on TuneIn Radio. Pretty cool. And also Alexa. Ask Alexa to enable the Planet Online skill. Then you can say, Alexa, play the Planet Online. Boom. Got us on Alexa. And then also for the Power Hour, 8 until 9 on my morning show, that is what we do. And I'm going to visit all the top headlines of the day, all in 1 hour, squeezed in to 60 minutes. Also got a YouTube channel where I'm going to put this video. Online content will live there. The Planet Power Hour with Chris Logan, that is what the channel is. You can go and subscribe. Also going to get Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, that's coming soon. Did get Spotify up yesterday, by the way. So if you ever missed the Power Hour or you want to go and subscribe to that, listen to that, or watch that, because yesterday I was able to upload the video to Spotify. So that's the Planet Power Hour there. But something new that we're doing here on the station every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. I was contemplating talking about this story today. It's from Women's Health, and it's the top 3 things a woman keeps secret. If you had to guess one, what do you think it would be? Top three things a woman keeps secret. And no, it doesn't have to do with peppermint mocha cream and coffee. Although, I should have kept that a secret because I don't feel as manly when I'm drinking peppermint mocha creamer in my coffee. See, now I'm getting a complex about it, and I'm going to have to go buy some more creamer whenever I get off the show this morning. But it's almost like, I guess, oh man, I was like, I guess I'll get into the Christmas spirit, get some peppermint mocha. And it's good. It's not that it's bad. I just don't feel as tough when I'm drinking peppermint mocha flavored coffee. So did you answer that question? What do you think is one of the 3 things that a woman keeps secret? Now, I don't think that this is in any particular order. Doesn't say here in the story. It just gives the top 3 things. So I'm not sure if it's 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. But these 3 things sit on top of that list. The number of men that she slept with. That is a top secret that women keep. If I had one shot of answering the question, I would have said this, the number on her scale. How much a woman weighs. That would have been my guess. If I wouldn't have guessed that, I probably would have said age. Now, I guess you can't really keep that a secret per se, but the number on her scale And then lastly, the amount of cash that she blows when she shops. But I think all in all, probably right. Would you agree with that? Ladies, secrets, the number of men that she slept with, the number on her scale, and the amount of cash that she blows when she shops. Now notice it says cash. Because in this day and age, and I'm making the assumption that, this person or some of these ladies would be married. But if you are doing it on a debit card, doing it on a credit card, you're doing it on Amazon, you're shopping online, whatever. I mean, there's receipts on that. There's proof that you spent $300 at Target. There's proof that you bought that new $500 vacuum from Amazon. There's a trail when you shop online. So when I saw the amount of cash that she blows when she shops, I thought, well, do they really meant like cash, like cash money? Because if that's it, I mean, you can keep that a secret. Now, I'm not trying to tell ladies how to go shop without your man knowing. But, yeah. Cash. You want to keep a secret from your dude, from your significant other? Straight cash. When you go shop. Hey, baby, how much you spent today? I don't know. Your guy pulls out the phone, checks the app, checks the banking statement, goes to orders on y'all's joint Amazon account, doesn't see anything. Straight cash. I hope my wife doesn't watch this and get any ideas at all. But top 3 things women keep a secret. One more time, the number of men that she slept with, the number on her scale, and the amount of cash that she blows when she shops. Agree with that or disagree with that? Also this morning, which decade would you go back to? And I thought that was interesting. And when I saw the headline, I thought it would have been more like maybe asking Gen Xers, boomers, which decade you would like to go back to. And by decade, them answering the question of 80s, 70s, 60s, what have you. But it's not. They're more or less talking about which decade of your life. So would you go back to your 20s, your 40s, your teens, your 30s? Story says, if time travel was possible, which decade of your life would you choose to experience all over again? Someone asked 2,000 American seniors what they would do. What do you think the answer is to that? Think they'd go back to their 20s, their teens, their 30s, their 40s? Top answer, they want to go back and experience their 30s again. 30% said their 30s were the happiest or best decade of their life. And I think I could agree with that. Second, with a close 25% of the vote, their 20s. So most said, I want to go back to my 30s. Not far after that, 20s. You follow that? Would it be your teenage years? You could really go back and really change things? Or would you go back to your 20s and 30s? Now, depending, I got married very young. My wife and I mentioned this yesterday. Our wedding anniversary was yesterday on November 7th. And it was 26 years? Got married in 1996. Oh, hang on. I'm not good at math. Yeah. Yeah, 26 years that we were married yesterday. So got married young. So if I would go back to my 20s, that would be a good bit of my married life. For some today, not very much. I DJ a lot of weddings, and so I see a lot of that. Normally now, I see a lot of mid to late 20s and early 30s. Lately, it's been a lot of late 20s getting married. So you think about this, you think about going back, right? Just put ourselves in a hypothetical situation. You go back to your 20s, probably in your college years, coming out of high school years. Yeah, I know not everybody went to college. I mean, I didn't go to college. And look at me today. But, you know, for most people, 20 college age years, you know, maybe still dating years, maybe getting married years. 30s, you're kind of getting your life in order and really starting your life. Probably been married for a little while, probably got kids, you got a better job, really kind of starting your career, maybe really kind of starting to quote unquote make some money in your 30s, or maybe you're smarter with your money in your 30s. But if you had to go back, which decade would you choose? Now, I was ready to answer this question when I saw the headline this morning. I was like, 80s. Where are you going back to? 80s. Now, I'm a Gen Xer. I say this a lot on the morning show. I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, got drunk in the 90s. Graduated high school in 93. My wife and I tied the knot in 96. But if you say which decade you want to go back to, we're talking about, you know, decades. Let's go back to the 80s, man. I experienced the 80s, but looking back, like not as fully as I would have wanted to. And let me explain that. Because I wish I would just be about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years older. Because I wish I would have been graduating high school, out of high school in 86, 87-ish. You know, that real kind of 80s prime time. Now, I was going into high school in 1989. But, yeah, I wish I'd have been a little bit older and getting out of high school in the late 80s. Just because all what was going on, man, the style, the music, everything. What is it for you? Also, according to this story, seniors were also asked what advice that they would give their younger self if they had a chance. Boy, this, you know, I think the answer to this, all this, is yes. And for some of this, it took me a little while to understand and to go with. And it takes a little bit of you, maybe people around you, to give you that push. But the seniors' answers this: accept challenges, follow your gut, be bold, stay humble, always be prepared, and also stay positive. Seniors answering that question. Not seniors in high school, senior-aged people. Over the past year, I took a lot of that. I accepted challenges over the past year. I followed my gut over the past year, and I was bold over the past year. Stay humble, always try. I have this, this little canvas in my office. It's not here in my studio. It says, be kind, stay humble, work hard. Right? I look at it, and when I see be kind, just be nice. Never know what kind of challenges people are dealing with. And it's all a mindset change. Follow your gut. Boy, I did that over the past year. And be bold, did that over the past year too. Stay positive. Sometimes that's hard. That's a whole mindset change too. Staying positive. Or maybe when you get negative, you got to realize that you're getting negative and stay positive. But how about this? Says, but would their younger self even listen? So these seniors gave that advice and say, this is what I would tell my younger self if I had a chance. But then they asked, would your younger self even listen to that? 49% say they received solid advice from people when they were young, but ignored it. Yep. Boy, when you're young, you don't want to hear what older people have to say. You don't. This day and age, though, man, it's just so it's different. It's different. You look at the opportunities that younger people have. Back in the early 90s, man, I got out of high school. You make $8, $9 an hour, dude. You were doing good. I mean, what was back in the day? What was our minimum wage? Like, if you just had a high school job, what was it back in the early 90s? $4.25 an hour. Nowadays, younger people have an opportunity to take on some challenges and do well. But I thought that was interesting. 49% say they received solid advice when they were young, but they ignored it. But I thought that was some good stuff. They would go back, most of them said, to their 30s. And I think if you go back to your 30s, that's really maybe where you can kind of start to change. If you could go back, time travel, right? But we found out on Napoleon Dynamite that time travel is not possible. Even if you have crystals and you buy a time travel machine online, going back in time is not possible. You got to do it now. You got to make that decision, and you have to do it now. And if a boomer tells you, hey, work hard, be positive, listen. Listen to them. So what else are we covering this morning in the Power Hour? Got a little less than 30 minutes left. And boy, we kind of went through all that stuff a little quicker than what I thought. This was something else I had a question mark by if we had time to talk about it. Now, we're still going to talk about the election. Got to talk about that. Again, if we're going to visit and tackle, quote unquote, some of the headlines and stories of the day, we got to talk about that. I mean, I can't sweep that under the rug. And again, you may agree or disagree with me, and that's okay. We got to start doing that, though, man. We have to start coming back to that. If you don't agree, it's okay. Disagree and move on. Scroll past something if you don't like it. I mean, I don't know. Times are changing, but we're going to talk about the election, all that stuff coming up. But in my, I get this morning show prep stuff. And that kind of takes a lot of the popular stories of the day and puts it all together. And a lot of morning shows use it. And I subscribe to a couple of them. And, what makes that popular, and I'm not pulling the curtain back by any means, but what makes morning show prep popular is the fact that morning show people, they don't have to do as much work. You subscribe to these services, and just about everything you need is there. Headlines of the day, pop culture stuff, music news, country music news, viral videos, feel-good stories. You know, back in the day, you'd have to go looking for all this stuff. Imagine, you know, really, really back in the day when there was no internet. You know, we're doing morning show prep or show prep for your radio show with magazines and newspapers and watching the news and doing all that. But then it changed with the internet. You could look for different things, almost do things in real time. But this morning show prep makes it easier for morning shows. But the bad thing is that there's a limited number of good morning show prep, and a lot of the morning shows or radio shows all subscribe to the same ones. It used to be back in the day, it was kind of like territorial. It was by market. Like if one morning show had this morning show prep, then any other morning shows in that market couldn't have it. Nowadays, it's not like that, which is why you hear a lot of the morning shows, a lot of radio people talking about the same things. Just being honest. They all have the same morning show prep that they go through. But it does make it easier. You know, instead of waking up at 2 in the morning to gather information, you wake up at 4 in the morning, then you go to your services. They got pretty much most of what you need, and then start your show at 6. So with some of this morning show prep that I have, some of it I read it. You know, like we just talked about the top secrets, the top 3 things women keep secret. That comes from my morning show prep. But there's some of this I look at and I'm like, man, what? Like who thinks of this? You know, like who puts these stories together? And sometimes I think, like, who does this research? And this was one of the stories where I saw this morning, and I'm like, should I talk about that on the Power Hour or not? And we do have a little extra time. We're going to jump into election stuff in a few minutes. But this was from Match.com, and it talked about a morning kiss. Follow me here. It says, don't forget to give your wife a kiss as you head out the door. Researchers found that men who kiss their partners before leaving for work average higher incomes than those who don't. Like how do you know that? Like how you compile data to get that, you know, to get that story, to get those numbers. Researchers found that men who kiss their partners before leaving for work average higher incomes than those who don't. Don't forget to kiss your wife in the morning. Or maybe you got a sugar mama, and maybe she leaves before you. Maybe she's on the grind before you are. If that's you, go ahead. More power to you. Make sure she kisses you as she walks out the door. But I look at some of these stories and I'm thinking, man, like how much time do you have on your hands? Like who sits there and think, okay, how can we work these numbers of, oh yeah, men who kiss their wives before they leave, they make more money. They have higher incomes than those who don't. When you kind of think about it, maybe dudes or chicks who don't have a partner, a husband, a wife, they make more because they don't have the family and the wife and everything to give money to. They probably make higher incomes if you really want to argue about it. But kiss your wife as you walk out, and those who do make more money, have higher incomes. If mama makes more money than you, make sure she kisses you on the way out the door before you start the dishes. And if that's you at home while mama's working, more power to you. So the election happened last night. And still don't know the final take on the election. And I probably stayed up Because sometimes, I mean, I'll wake up fairly early. 4:30, 5 o'clock. And so I probably stayed up. I helped a friend of mine with some stuff with her election yesterday. But I think I may have went to bed about 10:30, 10:45 last night. And still nothing was called. Now, what we talked about yesterday was KJP. I think I called her KPJ yesterday. The White House press secretary, Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is. And she said the election results could take days. Could take days. And I think they were, trying to stop the red wave, if I'm choosing those words correctly, if that was going to happen, like that was their defense of it could take days before we know. Now, we still don't know everything, but there were some close races last night. And I'm going to be honest. And you watch any news outlet, the red wave didn't happen. Or to the extent that some people were hoping for. That's probably going to be getting looked into in the next couple days, which is why I don't want to comment too much on that because, all that stuff still kind of coming to light. But I watched a couple morning shows this morning, Fox News, kind of watched CNN a little bit. And I mentioned yesterday, I like jumping around to them all, and that's what I was doing last night, going to them all and seeing who was saying what. I think I even went to C-SPAN for a little while and just see who was saying what about the election. Because I like seeing the different takes on it. Especially when things that aren't supposed to happen. But this major red wave didn't happen yesterday. And when I was watching Fox News this morning, Newt Gingrich was talking about it. And to paraphrase him, he thought the Democrats demonizing Republicans over the past weeks and months may have helped Democrats combat the red wave. I talked a little bit about that yesterday. What Howard Stern was saying about Herschel Walker. What Sonny from The View said about white suburban women voting Republican would have been like roaches voting for Raid. Talked about that yesterday. Also, I don't know. It's just I think it's a question that I think everyone's going to have, and I think the more today goes, tomorrow goes, I think we'll learn a little bit more about that. You can kind of look, and again, like I'm not endorsing either way, but what a lot of people thought was going to happen, including me yesterday, didn't. Now, we still don't know whether Republicans will really control the House or control the Senate. That was, quote unquote, too close to call. Looks like Republicans could get the House. Will Republicans get the Senate? Too close to be called yet. Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and I believe Wisconsin, or some of the states that are still waiting for some of their races to be called. Now, there were some seats at some places where there was a red wave, just not as major as what I think was expected yesterday. But still a win for Republicans. Nancy Pelosi could be replaced, looking like the Republicans will get the House. Here in Louisiana, Clay Higgins, John Kennedy won pretty handedly. Not much of a surprise there. Arizona, boy, that's a questionable state. And there was some drama going on there yesterday with a voting location and their printers. Maricopa County. Now, there's some big races there, too. I like, what's her name? Oh, man, I forgot. What's her name? She just goes in on the media. She's the Republican candidate in Arizona. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to remember when the show's over. But anyway, I dig her, man. Some of the stuff I watched with her, she was calling out some of the media. And, I mean, it's crazy to see that. Also, a couple things I was watching and reading this morning as well. Abortion and democracy were the top two issues that voters were concerned about, according to exit polls. A lot of people thought it would have been the economy, crime, gas prices. That would have been what really sent the red wave crashing over. Didn't happen. Now, look, can Republicans still take over House and Senate? Yes, there's still a chance. But Arizona says Friday that they could have their results. 27% of their machines were down yesterday. In Maricopa County, there were printers not printing clearly. You would also think that it is 2022. And when it comes to voting, you think technology would allow voting to be done better, voting to be done, or maybe results done swifter with technology today. Now, this is also a story I was reading this morning from Fox News. Senator Graham, he expressed disappointment about the midterms. He said that there was not a Republican wave. He said, quote, definitely not a Republican wave. That is for darn sure. But he does say, I think we are going to be at 51-52 when all is said and done in the Senate. NBC's Lester Holt asked him about the performance in the midterm and if it was a result of the Donald Trump effect, meaning that those associated with former President Trump may have hurt Republican candidates. You're hearing a lot about that as well. Now, Lindsey Graham replied, not really. Still suggesting that the midterm was a, quote, referendum on Biden. And he said, quote, if we take back the House and we get the Senate majority, that's a very good night. The wave would have been New Hampshire and Colorado. But Senator Graham offered an optimistic take that the Republican Party would still take back power, even if by a narrow margin, and force President Biden to the negotiating table. But I think it's going to be messy. I think Arizona is going to be messy again. I think Georgia is going to be messy again. I don't know, man. You think in 2022 we wouldn't be waiting days to find out the results of an election. Also going to say this, though. Technology could maybe also bring in some corruption. I don't know. But we may not know anything till later today, or according to some in Arizona, on Friday. We voted on Tuesday. 3 days away. And over the coming days, we'll probably learn more about this red wave and how it broke down in different states. Maybe what caused certain voters to vote a certain way. Not sure. I didn't know this. Kind of when I was looking for some headlines and stuff to talk about this morning, that there was a bomb threat at a polling location here in Louisiana. And this is from KETC.com. According to a news release sent by John Tobler, Deputy Secretary of Communications, Secretary of State Kyle Ardoin released a statement after a Kenner, Louisiana polling station was moved following a bomb threat. Imagine that, having to move everything after a bomb threat. The threat took place yesterday morning, at the Kenner Discovery Health Sciences Academy on Loyola Drive, which is also a polling location. Law enforcement officers on the scene said an early investigation indicates that the motive was not election-related. That school served as a polling location for precincts K007A and B, and they were moved to the Audubon Elementary School on Loyola Drive in Kenner. So that's crazy, man. Didn't have to do with the election, according to what the investigation said, but I didn't know about that yesterday. Do we have any comments this morning? I didn't really. I was kind of looking at a few things on the internet, and it's hard for me to look at some of the comments as we're going. Ronnie, thanks for commenting. Ash Reese with Dad Show, thanks for commenting, man. Also, Seville, thanks for commenting too. So, not sure what the Facebook Live is going to do. Facebook's weird when it comes to Facebook Live, man. Like, we could have, I think we have 2,000 followers on our Listen to the Planet Facebook page, which is like great in 6 months, right? Great in 6 months. Everything about the planet exceeding my expectations. But Facebook's just weird when it comes to reach. You can have 2,000 people, over 2,000 people that like a page, and then a Facebook Live is going to reach like 40. How does that even work? But my whole point to doing this was to get more online content. And look, gonna be perfectly honest with you again. Most of the stuff that I do with the planet, Chris Logan Media, my new station Millennium, most of it I'm doing by myself. And it's a lot of stuff for me to do by myself. I'm not at the point yet, right? Because we have to think positive. I'm not at the point yet where I can expand the way I like. Is that a goal of mine? Absolutely. Because of Chris Logan Media, I do social media management, do some website creation, website updating. I kind of help a few people with their overall marketing. Have a text message marketing platform that I am rolling out very soon, to where customers can connect and talk to their customers over text. So that's coming too, but I'm not at that point where I can really hire a few people. So like all that stuff I'm doing. Then doing the morning show on the planet, all that stuff I'm doing. And then my new station, Millennium, getting all that together. So I thought about it. I'm like, okay, how can I get back into podcasting? How can I get some online content? How can I get a YouTube channel? Now, I know how, but it was more or less like, okay, you're doing the morning show, you don't have time to do content after that because you got to do work-related stuff. And I'm like, what about if I tie it all together? And that's what I decided to do with the Power Hour. Got 1 hour to go in on all the latest headlines. That's on our Listen to the Planet Facebook page. We do a live there. You can watch, but then also record that. Then that goes to YouTube as some content there. If I so choose, I can cut up that video piece, cut up the show in pieces, use that on social media. I can extract the audio, which that's going to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, got the Spotify platform up to. That is the Planet Power Hour. Uploaded the video of yesterday's show there. So I kind of want to take the show and put it on all platforms. So I had to get kind of creative on how I can do that by myself. And I think this is the way. Gives us some morning show content, gives me some content for online, gives me some content for my YouTube channel, and gives me some content for my podcast. And look, this is only day 3. So it's going to get better. I'd really like to get to a point, or I will get to a point where we're going to have guests on, whether that's guests live with me here in my Chris Logan Media Studio, maybe. Guest via, Zoom, guest via phone, whatever it is, we're going to get to that. So I'm excited about this. And if you're watching, you want to tell someone about the planet, you want to tell someone about the Power Hour, you're listening, you want to do so, I ask that of you every day. I'm just little old Chris Logan trying to make things happen. And I can only do it with the support of you. All of our sponsors on the planet, man, getting just great support, overwhelming support, and great success, and it's all because of you. So I hope you enjoy the Power Hour this morning. Tomorrow morning, we're going to do it all over again at 8 a.m. We're going to go in on some of the top headlines and stories of the day. So I hope to see you again there, and I hope you are listening to The Planet, the online station, doing rock from the 90s and 2000s